Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of you and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. So, first let me give shouts out to those who made donations to the Cash App previously. And I'm sorry I was not able to give shouts out individually or by name until usually a few days later because the family account is not run by me. And so, and I never let them send anything to me. As a matter of fact, with me being over here, they didn't have a way to do it. Now, I want to also give a shout out to an aspiring YouTuber living in the States that helped me set up my own Cash App because I can't set it up here. Shout out to him. You know who you are. But now I've got a new one. I've got mine and it's in the description. You can donate to that or to the crypto. And if you have a story you want me to tell that's red pill relevant, as I stated before, you email it to me at jet.black.core@gmail.com. When I can see I can see which donation is yours and match them up, I narrate your story as you like. If you do that, I do it on YouTube. And if you're at Patreon, you've already bought a membership, so you can email it. Just let me know which subscriber you are, and then you don't have to donate anything to have the red pill story narrated. I'll do that, but I'm gonna do it on Patreon, and I will leave it on Patreon for as long as you specify. So if you say leave it on Patreon for 3 weeks, then you can put it up on YouTube for everybody. Then it's 3 weeks. You may have to remind me after 3 weeks. If you say 3 months, it's 3 months. And as a matter of fact, if you don't say anything, I'll leave it on Patreon and I'll never put it on YouTube. That being said, I'm doing this because and the reason I'm doing this is because although I'm not going to take anything for the religious aspect of my message, there's no membership for that. You can't buy that. The red pill aware content, I still want to upload more on both Patreon and YouTube more often. And this would allow me more time to do it. It would be less time that I need to go trying to teach other English lessons to make extra ends. Now, that being said, I'm recording this one because I wanted to tell you all that the recent events we are seeing in the news show that the society is trying to push itself in the West to the opposite of the previous double standard. Now, the previous double standard was that men did not have to be monogamous or monogynous. Legally, that we did, but in terms of marriages, but that men did not have to be, and really should not have been, sexually limited to one lady, but women needed to be sexually limited to a husband, one husband. Now they want the opposite. This is why Emil Doka was named right off the bat. I still don't know if any of the involved women have been named or not. This is why Emil Doka is being attacked as though he committed SA, a crime, when in fact what he did was violate a workplace policy. This is why Nia Long, who turned down his marriage proposal, left him. This is why you've got women leaving these men for anything. You cannot game your way out of this, gentlemen. You can hold masculine frame, but you cannot hold masculine frame enough to where they don't want to cheat on you. That's not going to be the case. To be honest with you, I'm sure Derek Jackson has been cheated on at some point in his life. I'm not accusing his current wife of doing it, but I'm sure that he's been cheated on at some point in his life. He is an athlete. He's tall. He panders to women. I'm not blaming him for somebody cheating on him. I'm telling you that even in his case, it's bound to have happened. We've been moving to this for a while. We're now in a situation in which already we know that in the West, the women cheat more often and more easily than the men do. They're more likely to cheat out of boredom, and they're more likely to get bored. So it means they're more likely to cheat. They have more confidence to go out and get that side ding-a-ling they want. You know, as a man, you're going to have to approach several women, and the minute one of them knows you're married, that she's going to loud cap you. Because as a married guy, you don't want to even be nuclearly rejected, and because somebody would see, somebody would hear it, look over, see it, and say, wait a minute, he married. What are you doing? The risks are too great. Meanwhile, the wife that's bored knows she can go somewhere, and the minute somebody says something about, wait a minute, you married, you up here trying to approach him? She's like, no, I'm not. I don't, me to approach him, I don't do that. I'm a woman. He's mad because he approached me. I said no. And so then he started loud talking like, stop bothering me. I'm not interested. He's just trying to get back because I told him no. Women are going to do that. And the society is allowing this and moving towards it. It's moving towards the opposite so that women can be socially approved of for being loose, for cheating, and pretty much for screwing everybody except their husbands, while still taking their rights from their husbands in terms of finances and being taken care of and all of that. While any man that even so much as tries to copulate with his wife is a dog. There is this movement in the society towards that. They want to move to a situation in which when you marry that woman, it is understood. You take care of her. You spend all your marriage trying to prove that you're a man and that you're man enough to be married to her while she cucks you. It's being they're trying to move to where this will be understood. That's what they're shooting for. There is, and I think it might have been Abba and Preach or MTR. Maybe it was Average Man Unplugged. I can't remember who had this video of a couple, a Wyatt couple being interviewed, and she was a landwell. And she stated that she was a swinger, not the husband. She's a swinger. And he's supposed to sit and watch. She said she tried to do this about 2 or 3 times a week. So what is the reason she's married to this guy? Well, that's because he can look like a burned out biker. And he could still probably bring in some provision. But she'll go and pick out shines for recreation. The shines ain't got to pay. They just play. The husband doesn't get to play. He just pays. And as far as I'm concerned, every black man that takes up on this knowing she's married is a disgrace to the rest of us. It's not just because of how she looks. That's a part of it. But the society is trying to move to the opposite of polygyny. The society is now trying to castrate the default men. Train the default men to not even pursue any sort of below the belt intimate satisfaction, so that most men will be hypo satisfied below the belt intimately, which is already going on. And most women will be sharing the same few men, even when they're married. So what's been going on under the surface anyway is now being pushed to the surface. Gentlemen, Austin Holloman cannot stop this. If all of us were as tall and looked like Austin Holloman, we wouldn't be able to put a stop to this. If all of us made money like SWP says, we couldn't put a stop to this. This is being pushed as a whole throughout the West, and the Western black woman is not morally superior enough to even oppose something like this. They're too busy trying to be like Amber Rose, who's made some anti-black comments in the past herself, if I'm not mistaken. That's what we're facing. And understand that whatever it is that Miss Ann always does, Sapphire does twice as much, twice as loudly, with twice the energy and twice the fanfare. Because she's trying to out-Wyatt Miss Ann. And keep this in mind. So please, gentlemen, don't look for solutions in the West. Now, I've talked long enough on here. And on Patreon, I'm going to talk a bit more about the importance of the passport. I'm going to talk a bit more about what we need to tell young black boys. And I'm going to talk a bit more about how we need to reach out to the men in nations that we currently like to visit, and many of you like to marry or move towards that. How it behooves us and benefits us to tell the men. I'm going to close by telling you right now that a friend of mine, my closest friend from amongst the northern Nigerians here, already told me that there's a lady in his town. No, she's in Kano. I'm sorry. There's a lady in Kano, wife of a friend of his, that is pitching a fit like a regular Western woman because her husband's about to marry another wife. So she's throwing a fit. She ain't gotta like it, but she's not about to lose anything. She stands to lose nothing while he marries this other lady, and she's throwing a fit because she's been exposed to Western media. And he told me he does not know about this red pill black manosphere stuff. He told me her options are going to be that she goes back to her parents' house and there's no room for her, because she lives much better with her husband than she would have ever lived, before she married him. So she goes back to her parents' house with her sick dad in that really small, cramped area. That's number one. She either marries a man that's poor and has a bunch of other wives already, because poor men marry 2 and 3 wives more often than well-off men do in northern Nigeria. He told me that. So when sisters want to sit up and say, well, you black American men don't know how to do polygyny, that's not true. What they're saying is you insist on practicing polygyny when you're not rich. I'm telling you that in northern Nigeria, where they're conservative, The taxi driver is more likely to have 2 wives than the doctor. And I know because most of my friends are doctors and most of them are married to 1. That's how I know. He also said to me that she had a very high chance of a string of broken engagements if she did not take the deal to marry a poor man now who has more than 1 wife. That's what's out there for her. He said if she leaves this husband now, she's going to wind up with a poorer man who has other wives, or she'll wind up with no husband at all, but she'll be fornicating because there won't be any other way for her to get her rocks off. Ain't no husband. Those are her options. We need to reach out and let these men know where her reaction is coming from. Not her feeling internally. It's not that. But her reaction is, I'm going to buck the system. I'm going to fight. I'm going to leave him. I don't care what happens to me or my kids. Yeah, that reaction, that's not native. And we need to reach out to these men and let them know where this is coming from. Because I can tell you, she has been in some chat rooms with some sisters. We'll talk more about that in Patreon, inshallah. Thanks for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.